Hi, from the time the brand launched, first I think it was on Beautylish, I've been wanting a Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette. At first, they had these two very giant palettes that cost a bomb, and then they had those mini five pan palettes. I wasn't interested in those. And then they came out with 15 pan palettes, which were £111 a piece, and I wasn't going to spend that much on an eyeshadow palette. And then they made the size of the pan smaller, which is fine by me because you'll never end up using a whole eyeshadow palette with large pans in all probability, particularly if you are somebody who likes a variety of eyeshadow palettes in your stash. If you have just the one and want to use that up, then I suppose it is possible, but if you have quite a few, then it becomes very difficult to use up even one palette. So they made the size of the pans smaller, and the palettes themselves became a little smaller, which I don't think is too small. I mean, this is quite comparable to your average eyeshadow palette. And the price became £60. So I was interested. And at the same time, I wanted my first Natasha Denona palette to be something that I would use, not something that was outside of my comfort level. And I was eyeing Biba, but then there were a few grey shades in there, and I wasn't grey and I don't really get along very well. My undertones are yellow, so grey and I, not a good idea. So when the bronze palette launched, this actually arrived in June, but I was feeling very listless and unenthusiastic I still am, because of my granddad's illness. He's still quite ill. So I didn't even bother to open the packet. Thankfully, it wasn't broken. And this is the bronze palette from Natasha Denona. Sorry, this review is very, very late. And these are the eyeshadows. So this color story I thought was right up my alley. I mean, I'd get some use out of it. I mean, you don't want to end up spending 60 quid on an eyeshadow palette, and there are a few colors that you rarely reach for, and others that are outside of your comfort zone. I wanted all the colors to be within my comfort zone. Now, the big issue with this palette is that some of the shades are rather similar to each other. Yeah. But for me, as long as I am getting ample use out of all these colors, I don't actually mind that, as long as I'm using them. Here, I'm not looking for variety because this is my first Natasha Denona palette. What I'm looking for are eyeshadows that I will continue to reach for quite a while. Now, as I told you, there's a reason I keep coming back to this external packaging. There are a couple of spelling mistakes in here. For high payoff, foil finish, apply with a damp eyeshadow brushes. These are made in Italy. Do they actually make these kind of grammar mistakes or spelling mistakes on the external packaging? Do these kind of very high-end brands do that? Do they make mistakes? I don't know how to feel about this, You don't believe me? I'll just come close to the camera so you can see that there is such a mistake. Yeah. Apply with a damp eyeshadow brushes. A damp eyeshadow brushes. Now, I'm not being nitpicky or anything here. It's just that, these sort of mistakes you expect to see on a fake product. And this is not a fake. I bought this from Selfridges. It's definitely not a fake. The palette itself looks like this. Basic but not cheap looking. Yeah, bronze, it suits the theme. And this actually, it's quite a reflective surface, although a fingerprint magnet. The bottom is wonderful. It's a rubberized finish. Very, very nice. And it feels very luxe. And I like that there are little pinholes at the back of each pan. So in case you need to depot something, you can just, dislodge these with a pin. There's a hole for that. Very nice. It saves klutzy people from, making a huge mess when they go in with a lever of some kind. Has happened in the past. Now, 15 eyeshadows, as I said, matte finish, metallic finish, duochrome. Yes, this one. Hang on. This is duochrome. Hang on. Let me just see if I can get that duochrome effect to come on camera. So keep your eye on this one. Yeah, Bliss. Now that is gold, rose gold, and see that it becomes red. Yeah, see the duochrominess there? And then there's rhodium, which is this one over here. That appears to be a silvery, purpley even grey. And then it moves on to have brown, ruddy brown undertones. Yeah, you see that shift? I am absolutely thrilled about this because I feel that mainstream browns should have more, you know, duochrome and even multichrome eyeshadows in their pans. I know that these are more expensive than your regular eyeshadows, but you know, I'm a duochrome and multichrome person now, and that is why I actually bought this palette, because this one is a gorgeous duochrome that I actually don't have in my stash. Now, without further ado, I want to swatch these for you, but the thing is, there are two shades in particular that are quite similar among the shimmers, and then two matte shades that are quite similar. I'm alright with the matte shades being similar because these three I can use as all over base on my eyelids. These two are quite similar. I'll show you all that when we swatch. So off we go. What I'm going to do is not go about swatching these in the right order. What I'm going to do is swatch the similar shades together. So first let's do True Bronze and Silk, which are quite similar. Now this one is True Bronze and this one is Silk. So you have very, very similar colours there. This one is maybe slightly ruddier, but yet more or less similar. And then this one is Alloy. So that's more orangey golden than the other two, which are very similar. This one is Sundown. It is more orange than these two. Beige is peachier, and this is more brown. So these two definitely very similar. The others not as much. That is upon a close look. From afar, I suppose these three are quite similar. So this one is Suntan, and this one is Magma. Magma is more burgundy brown than Suntan, which is paler. Not very similar to these other mattes. Now this one is True Copper. That is more cupric and ruddier than these, the shimmers on top. And then we have High Degree. This one is Gloaming, and they are a bit similar, but you know, High Degree is a lot ruddier. And then this one is Palladium. This is Bliss. Now I just want to show you the duochrominess here. You see it goes from gold to orange to red. You see that? That's Bliss. And this one is Rhodium. Silvery purpley grey to ruddy hued brown. You see that? This one is Deep Dive. Now Temptalia on her blog, I'm a huge fan of Temptalia's blog, has said that this is Natasha Denona's best eyeshadow formula, and she's actually given it an A- rating. And I was very curious as a result. This is obviously, these are my first Natasha Denona eyeshadows. I completely agree with what Temptalia has said, and I'm completely blown away by this formula. The best eyeshadows I've used, without a doubt, absolutely. I'm not talking about colors, I'm not talking about shifts. Yeah, I have loose powder pigments that are multi-chrome that I'm absolutely in love with. I'm talking about within eyeshadow palettes, pressed powder palettes, the formula and the feel. The mattes are super buttery and they're gorgeously pigmented. There is no chalkiness at all. The shimmers are just, you know, silky smooth and glide like a dream. So easy to blend out, no worry with harsh lines and so on. And the color family is right up my alley. I wouldn't call this, you know, your typical ruddy, coppery hued, you know, orangey neutral palette. These are bronzy, and this is obviously a very summery palette. There is not a single shade in here that I wouldn't use. Yes, there are a couple that are similar, but I'm alright with that. You know, I'll get maximum use out of this palette. It is actually my go-to daily palette as of now. I think, you know, Urban Decay's formula has suffered a bit over the years as they've been racing to produce palette after palette. This one, I think, is is a sort of perfect replacement, if you like, this kind of a very neutral color family. And it's not boring neutrals either. There is a duochrome. I am going to show you two different eye makeup looks with this palette, both of which are not boring, bland, you know, barely there looks. The first obviously is going to feature this duochrome, sort of goldy, reddy duochrome, and the second obviously is going to feature this one, Rhodium, also duochrome, that I am wearing right now. So off we go with the eye makeup looks. This one, Ridge, is going all over my lids. Next, Magma is going into the crease. Finally, I'm going in with Bliss on the rest of the eyelids. And then Silk goes into the inner corners. High Degree on the lower lash line. Now this is another makeup look that I did with this palette, with a beach all over the lids as a base, deep dive in the crease, and rhodium on the inner half of the lids. So as you can see, you can do non-everyday, non-work appropriate looks with this palette as well, which is what I've been trying to show you with these looks. I mean, you can, obviously, you take a look at this color story and you do realize that you can get a number of everyday work appropriate eye makeup looks with this palette. You can get more, non-neutral looks as well with the High Degree, for instance, which I haven't used, or Gloaming. I haven't used these in eye makeup looks on this video, although I have been playing with this palette over the last few days. Yeah, it's been only about a fortnight since I started playing with this because, as I told you, I haven't been doing very well with my granddad's illness. Oh well. So I just wanted to show you that you can achieve a variety of looks, not just neutral ones with this palette. Yes, there are a few shades that are similar, but that means that even if you do hit pan on one of those all over the base shades, there is another option. So you don't have to, discard the palette or, hunt around for another all over the base shade once you hit pan on one of those. So formula wise, I must say that this is one of the best eyeshadow palettes I've owned, I've bought, I've tried, I've heard of in my life. When you swatch these, you touch them, play with a brush, apply them, the formula is absolutely mind-blowing. I haven't tried other Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes, so I have absolutely no idea what they're like. I do want to try more though now. On the other hand, the others that she does have so far, I'm not, yeah, I don't need them. I'm not too impressed by. Maybe, if she comes out with more duochrome palettes, I might be interested. The color story is right up my alley. Yes, these are dupable in my stash, but I did want one Natasha Denona palette. And when you want a palette for the sake of owning something from the brand, you want a color story that you will use, that you feel at home with, even if it is, dupable from your stash already. So absolute fan of this palette. Formula-wise, completely impressed. Gorgeous eyeshadows. They don't shift. They blend like a dream. They glide on like a dream. They're super, super pigmented, silky, buttery, soft and smooth. I don't think there's any other brand in my stash where I have eyeshadows that are this nice feely and nice performy, for want of better. I know that is awful vocabulary, particularly from somebody with a journalism and literature background. I can't think of any other words. So yeah, those are my thoughts. You know that I don't praise for the sake of praising. I'm being honest here. I'm telling you that some of the shades are similar. Most of the shades are dupable. Well, except the duochromes are not dupable. But the rest of them, you don't already have these in your stash. So if you don't, though, if you're looking for a new neutral palette, not new neutral, if you're looking for a new neutral palette, neutral color story. If you're looking for a new summery eyeshadow palette, if you're looking to try Natasha Denona, by all means, definitely, if you don't have too many work appropriate eyeshadow palettes, you will definitely get a lot of use out of this, and believe me, the formula is very, very, very impressive. None of those, dry to the touch eyeshadows, none of those, rub to get pigmentation, none of those, harsh lines there, nothing of the sort. Very, very seamless. So those are my thoughts on the Natasha Denona bronze eyeshadow palette. Quite late in the day, I know, sorry. Have you tried Natasha Denona eyeshadows? If so, what are your thoughts? I have heard that some of the other palettes, the previous ones, were not as impressive, and she's actually improved on the formula, which is great to see, because most brands these days seem to be deteriorating formula-wise. It's good to see that one brand at least has improved, because Temptalia, or at least, and this is from Temptalia's blog, she's given this the highest rating and said that this is Natasha Denona's best palette that she's tried, and the mattes are the best. Now, where to buy this palette and other Natasha Denona palettes, I will link in the description box below. So those are my honest thoughts. Do share yours if you've tried Natasha Denona. Which is your favorite kind of eyeshadow formula so far? I think that a lot of brands which were known for amazing eyeshadow formula have not quite hit the mark, nailed it in recent times because of the palette overkill. This one has, actually. So that's all from me for today. Thank you for watching this video. Please do give me a thumbs up. Please do the subscribe button. Please do ring the notifications bell, and I'll speak to you soon.